I just took the view, and nobody told me to do it. I just took the view that I had to move with it. So I just started to make the voice bigger and bigger and more stupid and ridiculous. And so at the end, by series 16, and I say this all the time, but I was shouting so loudly on that show that I was bleeding from my eyeballs like a Bond villain.
Hello and welcome to Voice Acting Unplugged, the podcast that goes behind the scenes and investigates all areas of the voice acting industry, and we talk to experts in their field. And as usual, I am joined by my multifaceted co-host, Mr.
Multifaceted? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. There's lots of sides to you. You can do all sorts of things.
I'll accept it. We've got a bit of a superstar on this week, I'm afraid. It's one of the greats, the true greats of voiceover. The last I heard, he'd done something like 35,000 adverts in his career. I expect it's an awful lot more than that by now. Would you please welcome Mr. Peter Dickson, voiceover man himself. Hi, Peter. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. What a wonderful intro.
Well, it's great to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be here. It's great. It's funny that it's great to be anywhere, actually, now I've come to think of it. But it's nice to be here with you two.
Right, for those that don't know who you are, do you want to tell us a bit about yourself? In as smaller time as possible, because it could go on forever.
All right, so I'm a voice actor, voiceover artist. I've only done that in my life. I've never done any other things, never had another job. Apart from when I was a broadcaster, I started in Radio 2, BBC Radio 2 in London as a radio announcer, read the news, did continuity and presented programmes as well on the network. So that was a really great grounding for me, a great training experience in the days when the BBC did train people properly. And I was given some great training, microphone training and presentation skill training. And that was about 9-10 years I was there, and then left to become a freelance voice actor, and I've done nothing ever since. I've done nothing else ever since.
Now, you started out famously in Northern Ireland. Is where you
that's where I'm from.
Right?
Yeah, I'm from County Down in Northern Ireland, and that's where I started my career at the BBC, again at the BBC in Belfast, in regional radio. So I was a radio presentation announcer at BBC Radio Ulster in Northern Ireland, based in Belfast. And then I became a journalist, not a very good one, I have to say. I was terrible at it. And realised very soon after I started doing it that I was never going to make it as a journalist. A lot of my contemporaries were there, went on to great things, and did wonderful work. But I was really not cut out for it. So I went back to what I knew and did best, which was radio presentation and reading other people's words.
Yeah. Did you ever have a local accent? Did you get rid of an accent, or did you not have one?
I didn't really have a very strong one, but I can certainly go back there, absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
I can do all that. Northern Ireland is a wonderful country. There's only 1.5 million people there, but there's so many accents up there. In the north of Antrim, they talk like that. And it's kind of getting more Scottish up there. But then Belfast, very strong and very elongated vowel sounds.
Yeah.
And then over in Tyrone, over in Tyrone, that's right, they talk like that. And there's so many different dialects in the country. You just go down the road a few miles and it changes. It's
was that allowed on the BBC in Northern Ireland? Were those accents present?
Well, the thing with the BBC, we're going back a few years now, you understand. And in those days, the view the BBC took was that you couldn't really be on air if you had a very strong dialect. Because if you were, say, from County Antrim, and as I say, you spoke like that there, people in County Tyrone may not understand you.
Sure.
So you had to sort of kind of be slightly neutral in your accent. It's quite interesting. And that the BBC also in the UK, the main national broadcasting channels like the BBC Radio 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4, they all kind of took the view also in those days that they didn't really want very strong accents because of that old-fashioned idea that nobody would understand you, which is ridiculous nowadays when you think about it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so I reckon I got hired because I had a slight Northern Irish accent, and they wanted. I just came along at the right time, and they wanted to introduce more accents into the announcing team. So he had James Alexander Gordon, who was Scottish.
Yeah.
There was me with my slight Northern Irish thing. I can't think they covered off. I don't think we had any Welsh announcers, but they may have now. Certainly there's all kinds of accents and across all networks and channels nowadays. Of course, it's almost de rigueur to not have a received pronunciation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, you do all sorts of things within the voiceover industry. You do adverts, you do telephone announcing, which I remember you telling me a long story about. You do video games. Which of those is your favourite?
Good question. I don't have a favourite. I have always taken the view that in this business, because it's so fickle and precarious at the best of times, that really you need to be almost good at all of it and enjoy all of it if you can. At least 3 or 4 different genres you should be doing, because I've been in this business a long time, and I've seen it's very cyclical. I've seen my career go in cycles. So one year I'm maybe very, very, people are very, they want to sort of employ me for my promo skills, or maybe sometimes they want to employ me for being a commercial voiceover or working in video games. But so you've got to be good at all of it, I think. Otherwise, you just become a little bit of a
one-trick
in one-trick pony. Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. So if you're good at everything, or you're fairly good at everything, then as your career goes in cycles, because one day you'll be king of the hill in promo, next week you're out because you've been working for a channel for years, and suddenly the creative director changes. New guy comes in and you're out. And what do you do now? Well, if you've got nothing else to fall back on, life can be very difficult. So I think it's always very important to keep as many of those plates spinning in the air as you can. So I don't have any favourites, but I do enjoy, if I was to choose one, I'd say I enjoy commercials, because I've got very short attention span, and give me anything long form and I'm terrible at it. I've done 2 audiobooks, and that was a nightmare, but one of them was my own actually, but it wasn't so bad. In fact, no, it was worse, because when you're reading your own material, it's sort of you're more invested, aren't you? So
absolutely.
You've got to make sure it's right, and that was terrible. That was a nightmare. So short form's great if you can put up with saying the same 3 words 150 times. In different ways.
You're probably most famous to people as the voiceover man voice, that big booming voice that was seemingly everywhere. Is that a cyclical thing as well? Does that come and go?
No, it's come and gone, thank goodness. It was good while it lasted. I have to say, it was great fun, and that character kind of evolved over time. Started on Radio 1, on the Steve Wright show,
stuff,
where I was doing a character called Voiceover Man, which was a kind of a pastiche of the sound that was created by those older voiceover guys in commercials in the 70s and 80s.
The Patrick Allens
which
of
I
this
listened to. And I'm sure that you'll have heard them as well. In fact, they still exist today to some extent in some places. But it was that very high prosody, yes, that's right, there's a bouncy castle for the kids. And it still makes me laugh to do it, because
I think I'd be doing it all day if I could do it. I must be honest.
That's right, yes, Anthony. It was great fun to do. So it kind of evolved over time. So then Steve Wright show, and then I kind of evolved into, and Steve Wright got a show on BBC One television called Steve Wright's People Show. I did 2 series of that, and I played the voiceover man on that, and also a range of other characters. I remember one I did was Reg, the floor manager, which was in Vision, which was quite fun. But then while that was going on, I was called by my agent to do an audition for a show called The X Factor, which wasn't on air at that time. And I did this audition, and they liked what I saw the pilot show, and they liked what I did on it. I gave it this slightly bombastic, sort of larger than life character voice. And they thought this was, they thought it was good. They liked it. And they hired me to do it. And it started off reasonably, level. It wasn't over the top. But as series after series went on, and the show itself became more of a pantomime, more of a big sort of behemoth of a thing, I just took the view, and nobody told me to do it. I just took the view that I had to move with it. So I just started to make the voice bigger and bigger and more stupid and ridiculous. And so at the end, by series 16, and I say this all the time, but I was shouting so loudly on that show that I was bleeding from my eyeballs like a Bond villain. And they had to cool the studio down to 15 degrees, and I was literally in a very thin shirt because I'm really giving it so much.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened. And then I had a call from my agent saying there's a promo job potentially going on E4. There's a guy called Patrick Allen who I'd worked with years ago, actually, on sport on Eurosport channel. Lovely guy.
He was the voice on Two Tribes, wasn't he? For
he was,
Frankie
yeah.
Costello?
He did that, and he also was the voice of. Well, he was. I don't think he still is, but he was the voice of The End of the World. Because the Two Tribes voiceover that he did on that single was lifted off a 1/4-inch tape that the BBC had in its safe, which was to be played in the event of a nuclear war.
Oh, wow, I didn't realise it was genuine.
Yeah, genuinely a real thing. So in the event of the government telling the BBC to stop all broadcasting, this tape was to be put onto a 1/4-inch tape player in Broadcasting House in Radio 4's continuity suite. All the networks would stop. They would all join Radio 4, and the engineer at the appropriate moment would play this tape. And it was Patrick Allen's voice saying, "You must take cover. This country is under a nuclear attack."
Mine is the last voice you will ever hear.
It really would have been the last voice you would hear.
That's
in fact,
extraordinary.
probably knowing how fast these nuclear weapons fly, he may not have even got to the end of his talk.
Yeah.
But I'm being dramatic. It takes about an hour, but an hour's not long. But I think that's quite chilling when you think about it. So that was Patrick. Anyway, he was a great actor as well, and a great voice actor. So I went to do this. My agent said, "Can I come and do this audition for E4?" And I went along, and they said, "Look, we don't really know what to say, but Patrick was ill. I can't tell you too much." And so, as it turned out, he was terminally ill. He was very ill. But we're looking for, and he had been the voice of E4 for quite a time, adopting this rather stentorian sort of over the top, fakely serious voice. By using it, he was able to say things that other voices couldn't, about being disparaging about the shows and about in the promos. So and they invented this whole different language for him, which was very interesting. It was so they played me a few things of his, and I said, "Well, I'll have a go." I went in the studio. They said, "We don't want you to mimic him. We want you to channel his attitude."
Yeah.
And because I'd grown up listening to all these guys back in the day, I was able to do it. And they looked at me through the glass and they said, "That's just very good, fantastic." And I got the gig. So that's how I got the job. And in fact, before I took the job, I got in touch with Patrick, and I said, "Look, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to be doing this." And he said, "Absolutely no problem. You have my blessing. Have fun," which was nice. And so that's how that happened. And so X Factor came along, E4 came along. They all kind of collided together, and this voice became. That's what I became known for. And in some ways that was a good thing. In some ways it was a curse, because you get known for one thing, it becomes that's all you do all day long. It can become, or did eventually become, quite dull, because you're just asked to do it all the time. And so I'm kind of quite pleased it's kind of gone now, so I can get back to doing more interesting work.
Yeah.
Although occasionally I still get asked to do it.
And so how have you found things have changed over the years? I mean, it used to be, as a voiceover, you were running up and down to all the different studios in Soho. That's kind of not the case anymore.
No, it's not really. Very rarely. I mean, on the bigger jobs, on the big commercials, the TV commercials, I do go into central London, and I'm working in the nice big studios that we all know and love. You know, where you get the free chocolates and the cappuccinos. So that's really nice to have. But no, you're right. Most of the time, it's we're sitting in glorious isolation in our studios where you're sitting right now. I'm not sure about Anthony. You're not in the studio.
I'm in the office now. It's too hot in my studio.
But I've got air conditioning in this booth. It's right, when it gets hot, like today, it's going to be really hot. So I'll be in here with air conditioned studio quality air, and it's where I hide away from the world. And it's actually quite nice because I've made it like it's comfortable. It's quiet. I can, relax in here. I feel. It's important to feel comfortable when you're working. You shouldn't be uncomfortable. Everything should just be right. The lighting's right. Your monitors are okay. Your equipment works. When everything's working well, you can just forget about it and get on with the process of really, doing a good job interpreting other people's scripts. I think, your working environment is so important for that reason.
You've got an Asmono booth as well, haven't you?
No, I built this one myself.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, of course I didn't build it myself. I had a man do it, but these hands have never done a day's work in their life. So I just do, but it is home built, if you like, and so it's I built it to my own specifications, and it works really well.
Yeah, sounds great.
Now, lots of people have come into the industry since the pandemic, and more people are coming into the industry. What sort of advice would you give them?
Don't bother. It's just, there's nothing to see. Of course I give advice all the time. That's why I started Gravy for the Brain with my business partner, Hugh Edwards. And Gravy for the Brain is a platform that does just that. It trains people to become voice actors or voiceover artists, and we have been doing that for 13 years now. We started out as a bricks and mortar business.
Is it that long?
We started out bricks and mortar. We were doing in-person classes in London studios for maximum of 10 people at a time. But you can only reach 10 people at a time. We thought, well, if we did it all online, we could reach thousands of people at a time. So that's what we did. And over a period of time, we've built this most amazing platform that almost has, it's the world's biggest content provider of voice acting training. And we're in 52 countries. We've trained thousands and thousands of actors all over the world, which is something I'm particularly pleased and proud of. So you ask, do I give advice? Yes, I do. Every day, I do. But advice, if I was to sort of put it in a nutshell, I would say you've got to understand that voiceover is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It was very interesting over COVID. I think you mentioned COVID there. But I think over COVID, we had a lot of people sitting at home who weren't working and not knowing what to do, and they were sort of scanning the internet for interesting things that they might do, and so they alighted up on voice acting. Oh, that's good! I could do that. I can read. I can speak. I can buy a microphone. I'll get on to that one. And they joined Gravy for the Brain, took some training, and then promptly gave up because they realised it's not an easy buck. It isn't easy, and it's a difficult thing. I think if you're going to succeed in this business, you've got to be single-minded, very determined, thick-skinned, and be prepared to put in the hours. And that's really all there is to it.
Have numbers decreased in that are trying to do it? Are you getting fewer people trying now than say during COVID?
Yes, certainly. COVID was a peak for every online subscription business. Excuse me. Netflix, everybody experienced the same peak, and then once people got back to normality, they came. Numbers dropped slightly, but we're very level. Very sort of level. We get peaks, of course, here and there. But we are, we're a subscription business. People come into the funnel, they fall out because they've done their training, or they find, for whatever reason, it's not for them, or they don't want to do it anymore. But there's always new people coming in, and we're very happy to train them. And we do keep in touch with them. We've had some brilliant success stories, as you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting increasingly tough, though, isn't it? At the moment, there's a lot of people suffering, particularly this summer. It's been extraordinary.
I'm not going to deny it. It is difficult. It's nothing. We sit here and we think, why has the phone not rung? We all go through this. I do too. Why is my agent not rung me this week? It's nothing that I've done wrong or you've done wrong. It's a result of global financial difficulty, and I think that we all know what that is. It's not just in this country. Everywhere is finding it difficult at the moment. So I think not only that, but we also have the threat of AI, which I don't actually think is a real threat in our industry. It is being addressed and will be addressed. But it's not the major panic threat that we all thought it was a year ago. We were all running around like headless chickens saying, oh my goodness, robots are coming, we're going to be replaced. Well, as time has gone on, that's proven not to be the case. There are multiple stories of hirers who have eschewed real voiceovers, gone to the AI route, and then gone back to real human beings again because, honestly, we've all heard them. They're good, but they're not that good.
Although they do seem to be getting better in some areas.
Of course. We all accept AI on telephone systems now, or explainer videos on the web, although I find them quite tedious. But, on those low-level jobs, they'll go. The low-hanging fruit's gone for those people who just dabbled in our business and were happy doing, everyday stuff for not very much money, just pocket money. So I think it's just taken a whole layer away. So we've got the middle layer and the top layer are still doing quite well, although there aren't as many jobs around as there used to be, granted. I think it's just a question of, as I go back to what I said earlier, being prepared to broaden your genre expertise, being good at gaming, animation, character voices, audiobooks, commercials. Those are the 5 main ones. I think you need to be good at all of that in order to be able to sustain a career in this business. You've got to be able to, get out there and do lots of different things and be good at lots of different things so that when one sector goes down, the other ones can keep you aloft. That's all I can say about that.
And for people coming into the industry for the first time, who maybe they've been an actor and so they've got a good voice and they know how to use it, how do they know where to go about and find jobs if they haven't got an agent?
Well, I don't think, everybody gets very concerned that they don't have an agent. They sometimes get very anxious. Oh, I can't get an agent. Nobody wants me. It shouldn't be the first thing that you do as a voice actor. You should be making your own way and finding your own work. And that's part of what we teach at Gravy is the business side. And you mentioned it earlier, that people need to understand that the phone won't ring unless you go looking for the work. So you've got to have a disciplined approach to it. You've got to have a content management software system running that you can keep tabs on everybody and which clients you've worked for, which clients you'd like to work for. Of course, you've got to manage your demo reels and your social media feeds. It's just a question of being visible everywhere, and interacting nicely with people online. And the more you do that, the more of those plates you spin, the more likely that jobs will come your way. But it has to be constant. And it's something people, particularly in the creative arts, struggle with because we're genuinely not very good at marketing ourselves, I don't think.
It's hard
it is
work,
very
marketing.
Hard work. You can get people to do it for you, but then you've got to be making an income in order to pay people to do that. So it's a bit of chicken and egg, but you can.
Yeah, so I was just about to say that.
To do it.
Yeah, so to get started, really, you need to have a little bit of a nest egg because you have to get your studio set up, you have to get all your equipment, and then if you want to try and get into things, either pay for coaching, or pay to play sites, which is another subject altogether.
I mean, pay to play is one way to get work, but it's a very disheartening and a very difficult way to get jobs because you may only hit 1 in 100, and you do 99 auditions, you get one job. That one job may be great or it may be not so great, but it's very, very disheartening and demoralizing doing that every day. But that's not the only route to work. You can make your own route to work by being a little bit more inventive and contacting businesses yourself. and making your own opportunities. I've done that in my earlier career.
Making opportunities. The place people seem to go to these days is TikTok. Do you find yourself appearing on TikTok? Do you do things on TikTok to try and get work? Not that you need to find work, I'm sure.
I'm not on TikTok. Look, I'm the age I am. I'm not saying TikTok is just for young people. Of course it's not. But I don't. It's not for me. I've looked into it. It's not for me. I'm not going to do TikTok. My business, Gravy, I think, is doing stuff on TikTok. In fact, I know we are, and that's okay. But personally, no, I'm not going to go on TikTok. But it is a route to. I mean, of course, it is a route to business for many people, and you can have your TikTok channel and just post continuously on there. And try and get an audience.
Well,
it's all about getting an audience, Margaret.
Yeah, well, exactly. A lot of people on TikTok, and a lot of the younger celebrity-type names on TikTok, and who are now doing voiceovers and doing animations and video games, are discovered by doing something on TikTok. I mean, I did an animation out of the blue, and I'm working with all these young people. It's a bit of a crazy thing, Gaslight District. And suddenly I put on that I was playing Angel Mother in Gaslight District, and I got inundated with people. I'm like, what? Where has this come from? And it's because a lot of people, that's all they do. They look at their particular genres on TikTok or YouTube.
Well, you may or may not know this, Margaret, but I am the Emperor Zorian in the Xenoblade Chronicles, which I have never seen or played. But apparently it's quite a big game that people love, particularly in Japan. So I suppose I should be looking at the latter stages of my career, looking into doing Comic-Cons and things like that, sort of turning up as Emperor Zorian in costume.
Yeah, that is a big thing. I mean, a lot of voice actors now do go to Comic-Cons and are achieving celebrity status because they have been in one game playing one character.
My best pal. He goes to Comic-Cons all the time. He had a small part in Star Wars, and quite a small role. But nevertheless, he's in the movie, his voice is in it, and people, the fans of that particular genre, that particular show or film series, just love meeting all the characters in it. So they line up, have their photographs taken. He signs a few posters and walks away with a few quid in his back pocket, which is great.
Yeah. Now, you also work all over the world. Do you go to the different countries and work in voiceover over there as well?
No, I don't. I occasionally do. I do some work abroad for British companies. I travel over there and do things. I've done some stuff in Europe, but never much further afield than Europe. I have done lots of work, as you rightly say, in Dubai, Australia and America. Apart from that, and Europe as well, but online. So I do work from here, supplying voiceovers to clients in those countries, quite often on a weekly basis. And so, it's quite nice to have an international client base because, again, it's broadening your cushion, if you like, for when things in the UK maybe not so good. You've got lots of international clients you can call on to be, or they call on you to give you work in those particular parts of the world. So having as many clients as possible on your database is something I would highly recommend people try to do. It'll save your bacon one day.
And now you mentioned Japan. You were playing a part in a Japanese animation or game.
Yeah.
Where do you? Right. So I was thinking about anime, but games are very big over there. But Japan seems to be loving anime.
Well, it's where it started. It's where it continues. I mean, it's massive.
Well, yeah, but it's then coming everywhere. But it seems to be mainly only young voices in anime. Do you ever see yourself getting a part?
I've never really chased anime. No, I don't.
Or
Never auditioned for anime. No, I don't. I mean, I don't even agree that it's all young voices. I think there's a lot of young voices in anime, but of course there's room for older characters as well.
Well, there is the older lady I know who's generally the one in charge of telling people what to do, but and there's the parents. Yeah. So you said that in your retirement. Do you really see yourself
No,
retiring?
I've never any intention of retiring. I think in this industry, the world will retire you rather than you retire from it. So you know, I'm not chasing work as much as I used to. It still comes to me, and my agent brings me nice projects to do. But I like also a nice lifestyle balance. So I like to take more time for myself these days, and so I go on more holidays, which is lovely.
Nice.
Traveling, which is fantastic to be able to do that, and we can do that, of course, with our travel rigs. You know, I take my microphone and my laptop and everything that I need to take with me, and I can literally do work from anywhere. So, be it whatever, in a hotel room anywhere in the world, I can usually put together a fairly decent sounding studio and work with hotel Wi-Fi. You know, you can be anywhere these days.
Now, the one thing we haven't actually talked about is conferences.
Oh, yes.
You run conferences and you do classes at conferences. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, in fact, next week we're going across. This is Gravy for the Brain.
Oh, yes. America.
We run a thing called the One Voice Conference, and we've run that for 8 years in the UK and 6 years in the USA this year. Next week we're going to Dallas. We're all getting on a flight. There's 7 of us going across.
We've got your big hat.
We've got our big hats. Yes, we do. We're all going across to Dallas next week, and we'll spend 5 days there running this conference for hundreds and hundreds of voice actors from all over the world, from North and South America. And people come over from Europe, from Japan, everywhere. And we run, I don't know how many actual rooms. We're running 3 rooms in parallel for 2 days. So, maybe 50 different classes and workshops and talks from some of the best people in the business, from agents to producers to voice actors who are at the top of their game. And I always think people say, what's the best way or the quickest way to get an insight into this business? And I said, look, the only way to really get it quickly, you can learn it online, you can watch YouTube videos, you can join Gravy for the Brain. Sure, that's all great. But I always say to people, come to one of our conferences and you will learn more in 3 days than you'll learn in a year. And I genuinely mean that. You get so much information and so much insight and advice. And not only that, but you get to meet other people in our industry. And it's a very friendly industry, and they will welcome you in with open arms and share information about their careers with you, give you tips and insights, and you'll make lots of friends. And I think that's one of the most important things you can do as an aspiring voice actor, is to get known in the community, be accepted by the community, and learn from the community. We have a lot of fun, by the way, as well. Great social life as well with this. And, we burn the candle at both ends, of course. But it's only 3 days. It takes a week.
It takes about 2 or 3
to
weeks
get
to
over
recover.
it. Yes.
Yeah. If you've enjoyed the podcast with Mr. Voiceover himself, then please do subscribe to us. There will be information in the notes for everything to do with Peter, Anthony Rudd, and myself. And if you've enjoyed it, please do subscribe, tell your friends. And if there's anybody...
and buy the
do you know
book.
what? I've got to tell you something. Do you know... My husband bought me a Christmas present this year.
Oh, yes.
It was that.
Oh, tell me you've read it. Have you read it yet?
Do you know, it's on the top of my pile. I have got a pile this big.
I'm sorry
and it
to
is
hear
on the
that.
top for when I go on holiday. Yeah, Peter Dickson, Voiceover Man, buy his book. Or listen to it. He's actually narrated it on audio. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being our guest, Peter. And if you have enjoyed this mysterious podcast, please subscribe. Tell your friends.
How do we get out of here?